Have you ever caught yourself agreeing to help even though you're exhausted? Or going to a meeting you really don't want to attend? And on top of that, feeling guilty if you say no? Today we'll figure out why it's so hard for us to say no and what it really means to not owe anyone anything. This isn't about selfishness, it's about learning to see and protect your boundaries. And don't forget to subscribe and leave like. And if you want to see more videos like this, you can check another videos on the channel. When we say you don't owe anyone anything, it doesn't mean being irresponsible or not caring about others. It's very important to distinguish between boundaries and selfishness. Selfishness is when a person only thinks about themselves and completely ignores other people's needs. For example, your friend is in trouble, asks to talk, and you reply, "I'm too lazy, don't bother me." That's selfishness. Boundaries work differently. Let's say you're invited to hang out after a long, exhausting day. You honestly say, "I'm tired and can't today, but let's connect tomorrow." Here, you protect your own resources while still respecting the relationship. In psychology, there's the concept of psychological boundaries. Nancy McWilliams wrote about this in her research. Boundaries are the awareness of where I end and where others begin, where my wants and feelings are, and where other people's expectations start. A person with healthy boundaries can say yes when they truly want to and no when they're not ready. And that's the key difference. Boundaries don't destroy relationships. They make them more honest and healthier. Why is it so hard for us to say no? There are several factors at play. First, cultural conditioning. From early childhood we hear, be polite, be agreeable, or think of others. Gradually this turns into an inner script. If I refuse, I'm a bad person. For example, a child doesn't want to hug a distant relative, but is forced to because otherwise you'll upset grandma. In that moment, the child learns, other people's expectations matter more than my feelings. Second, neuropsychology. Our brain is wired to depend on approval. When we're praised, reward centers in the brain light up and dopamine, the pleasure neurotransmitter, is released. It's like a little reward. You're good, you're accepted. That's why the desire to please others is built into our biology. And third, attachment psychology. As children, we often learn that we need to earn love. If a child is obedient and convenient, they're praised. If they assert themselves, they may be rejected. Over time, this builds a habit of adapting in order not to lose closeness and safety. All of this together forms a deep belief. I must meet expectations, otherwise I won't be accepted. And that's exactly why, as adults, we find it so hard to say one simple word, no. And what happens when we constantly step over our own boundaries? At first, it seems like nothing serious. You take on extra work or listen to someone even though you're exhausted. But if this keeps happening, the consequences build up. Emotionally, it shows up as chronic fatigue, anxiety, and the sense that life feels too heavy. Over time, irritability creeps in toward others and toward yourself. And in the long run is burnout. Physiologically, it's visible too. Studies show that people who constantly suppress their own needs have higher levels of cortisol, the stress hormone. Elevated cortisol is linked to sleep problems, trouble focusing, and even a weakened immune system. Here's a simple example. A person agrees to help everyone, colleagues, relatives, friends. At first, they feel useful, but over time, they run out of energy. They become irritable, angry at those they're helping, and at the same time, angry at themselves for not being able to say no. It creates a paradox. The desire to be good for everyone leads to becoming exhausted, resentful, and ultimately more distant from people. Now here's an important question. Why should we even learn to say no? Research shows that people who know how to protect their boundaries are happier. They report higher levels of subjective well-being. In simple terms, they're more satisfied with their lives and less prone to chronic stress. In psychology, this is called assertiveness. It's the skill of expressing your thoughts and feelings directly, calmly, and without aggression. An assertive person can say, "I can't help right now. I have my own things to take care of," and not feel guilty or offend the other person. To make it clearer, think of an airplane. The safety instruction is always the same. In case of emergency, put your own oxygen mask on first, and only then help your child. It sounds paradoxical, because instinctively you want to help the other person first. But the logic is simple. If you lose consciousness, you won't be able to help anyone at all. It's the same with boundaries. When we take care of ourselves, we preserve our energy, and then we can genuinely care for others. But if we constantly put other people's needs above our own, in the end, we won't have the strength for anyone. Okay, so how do you actually learn to protect your boundaries in practice? The first tool is I statements. Instead of accusations or attacks, we talk about ourselves and our feelings. Not, you're pressuring me again, but I'm tired and I need time to recover. This way it sounds softer and the other person hears that it's not about them, but about your state. The second point is reducing guilt. Many people think, if I say no, it means I'm a bad person or I'm rejecting someone. But that's not true. Saying no isn't about rejecting the person. It's about recognizing that you also have limited resources. When you say no, you're not closing doors, you're simply being honest about your boundaries. And the third step is practice. Start small. Say no where the risk is minimal. Turn down an extra portion of food. Don't take on a small task if you don't want to. Gradually, you'll build confidence, and it'll get easier to say no in more important situations. Protecting boundaries is a skill. And like any skill, it develops through practice. Small steps every day, and over time you'll build the habit of respecting your own needs without fear or guilt. You have the right to take care of yourself. Saying no is normal, and real relationships will always withstand boundaries. Remember, boundaries are not about pushing people away. They're about respect. Respect for yourself, because your feelings and resources matter. And respect for others, because honesty is always better than hidden resentment or a tired yes. I want to offer you a small experiment. In the next few days, try saying no at least once without giving excuses, simply because you don't want to or you can't. And then notice how you feel. Most likely, it won't be fear, it will be relief. And remember, when you learn to set boundaries, you don't lose people. You create space for honest and healthy relationships. See you soon.